In 2035, America, a survivor runs from the machines to her hideout. Yana Nader makes it back to the bunker survival entrance and was met by resistance leader, Cougar, for training. The war defense machines had been used for national defense since 2029 after World War started. The artificial intelligence take over controlled machines and weapons. The artificial intelligence became all-powerful, which was trusted to become automated, thinking for itself. It perceived humans as a danger to itself and themselves. Along with Timbernator, the Cyberdog, Cougar, and Yaninator work on technology from drones, engines, mechanical lobsters, to time machines to survive. They would train for war with scavenged technology, including pulsed plasma carbines. Cougar would work on developing liquid nitrogen to use against the machines. Mechanical lobsters were being developed to dig trenches for nitrogen to be poured into. Cougar would develop EMP launchers for Timberinator to use on machines. Cougar developed hoverboards for the resistance team's mechanical lobsters to fly to the machine camps and power station. The mechanical lobsters have EMP-resistant shells and can dig highly effective into solid ground for the mission. Cougar has been working on a flux capacitor to travel through time, to change history if the mission fails. The resistance team of survivors' time travel machine would be largely experimental, and as such, last resort. The Cougar team would make the finishing touches to the time machine. Above the surface, the machines patrolled the wasteland, ignoring zombies scavenging in the streets. In machine prison camps, human survivors assemble machine parts for the AI captors as machines watched. At night is the time where most of the work takes place, and sleep is scarce in daytime. The final offensive won't look like this, very fruitless, and been done before with great loss. The Cougar team made the final finishes to the EMP-resistant shells for counter-defense against the machines. The night has come. The drones, mechanical lobsters, and Timberinator head towards the bunker exit. The drones drop liquid nitrogen on the patrolling machines, melting them, causing their collapse. The drones head towards the machine prison camps to take on the machines and liberate the humans. The drones drop the nitrogen on the unexpected machine guards as humans run to cover in the camp. The fleet of drones fly over the machine prison camp to melt the machines, shielded from EMP countermeasures. The mechanical lobsters on skate hoverboards head towards the camp to start trench digging. The lobsters land and create a perimeter around the camp as they dig the trench for the liquid nitrogen. The lobsters have achieved their part of machine-on-machine warfare as they hover away. The drones arrive and drop liquid nitrogen into the trench to trap any machines from leaving or entering. Camp survivors were instructed by voice commands to remain where they are in the camp, as rescue is coming. Timbernator skate hovers to the machine factory and power station to jam up the works for victory. Timbernator lands and launches an EMP strike on the power generator to destroy it. Timbernator was shielded from the EMP as the generator started exploding with various machines. The production machines fall as the power for the factory shuts down, destroying killer machine production. Power station destruction and further EMP strikes took out the machines still in Philadelphia. Yaninator and a team of Cougar's family, including cyborg Cougars, walk above the surface. The search above the surface continued, including for spare parts and weapons of the fallen machines. Survivors were being transported via attachments to the lobsters and drones to leave the camp. The final machine prison camp survivalists arrive back into the safety of Philadelphia. Is it really victory? Discussions take place as to how to rebuild the city now that the war has been won. From the melted machines laying in the wastelands, a freak bolt of lightning sparks a new era of terror. The new, more powerful liquid machine gets spotted by a lobster, and Cougar gets a warning communication. Drone attacks are totally useless against the new liquid killer machine as lightning bolts hit the drones. The liquid machine hardly computed the attempts at attacking it with liquid nitrogen, being immune. Liquid machine using its own energy generated new liquid killer machines. The war is not over. The team realized that adapting now is to escape from 2035 and start again in another time. With up to 60 survivors, Yaninator is to travel back first to 1855 and make a start. Cougar and the others would follow afterwards to create a new life in the Wild West, 1855. Yaninator arrives in 1855 Western Frontier America from 2035, a developing America, but no nuclear weapons, artificial intelligence, and no war. Her survival bag contains some essential technology. Yaninator gets her revolver for self-defense on the western frontier as she heads towards the nearest town for a horse and carriage for her journey west. She has multiple outfits to blend in. The horse is the transport over large areas. Yaninator had horseback experience before the 2030 nuclear war aftermath, and as such could adapt. The carriage was purchased, which would double as gear transport and shelter against the elements of the western frontiers. The Native Americans had lived for hundreds of years, adapting to the elements and natural dangers on the frontiers. An inspiration. 1855. Philadelphia had significantly developed, and as such, society had become domesticated, survival enemy. The pioneers crossed large areas of uncharted and unknown land. The risks were very high. The survival knowledge was limited due to domestication. They often lacked enough weapons, bullets, and knowledge of survival in nature. Once on foot, the pioneers had to trust their instincts and capacity to make it across with limited equipment. The pioneers would face unimaginable risks as they slept whilst traveling to the promised land of the West. Not every instance did fire deter predators entering their camp as their guard was down whilst they slept in their camp. Western Frontier, 1855. America lacked the spyware of 21st century America that Yaninator was accustomed to coming of age in post-apocalyptic America. But the isolation is a matter of survival in itself for many pioneers. Some pioneer survivalists would reach the last stages of their journey to California and Oregon trails to succumb to sickness, predator attacks, dehydration, and perilous mountain regions they had never encountered. The lessons that survivalists of the Western Frontier trails would take would create a generation of truly tough, determined Americans that would fuse progress and America's incredible creative and industrial development for generations. The tragedy of not knowing how to use a container with stones, like a bottle to run dirty water through, and then boil the water over an open fire to destroy bacteria, left the frontiers with graves of unmet lives in the heat of the Trail of Endurance. With no formal maps of the region, Yaninator would still have better knowledge of the trail than some of the pioneers on the trail. Her knowledge of water, shelter, fire, and having a bow and six-shooter will go a long way. Yaninator would try and use the high ground with the use of her carriage. As she is a lone pioneer with no added family members, she has more freedom. Yaninator took multiple water filter cartridges with her from 2035 Sun Cream and would often stay covered. She knows about using a bottle with the base removed to put various size stones in to pour water through to boil. Yaninator utilizes welding torches, spare wood pieces for carriage repairs anticipated over the long journey to Montana. She also bought with her 2 spare wheels to aid the journey. She uses a 2030s welding hammer to generate heat and shape metal objects. Cougar had coached Yaninator in various welding and electronic skill areas, essential for survival. As the area is largely uncharted by colonists, and as such, she develops maps for a blueprint of the area she is traversing for future homesteads and back-and-forth travel. The use of a bow to hunt coyotes and deer was invaluable. Once dispatched, Yaninator, using her knife, would cut out intestines, heart, and lungs, and then the animal would be roasted over a fire. Yaninator is reaching the end of her journey with knowledge of navigation and distance of Montana from Philadelphia, and some key landmarks she knows she has traversed. Last hurdle, a mountain range to climb. Yaninator builds a rope with vines and other plants by harvesting, drying, and twisting to form rope. Yaninator scales the mountain using improvised rope and metal pegs, and hammer and anchors with high risks. She has made it to the open plains of Montana to start a homestead. The journey to Montana, complete for all 2,035 survivalists of the War of the Machines.